Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.
California's recall election is next week. Some have labeled it a Republican-driven effort, including the governor himself. But former Democrat Senator Gloria Romero recently said she supports the recall. NTD's David Lamb reports.
Former Democrat Senate Majority Leader Gloria Romero told Fox News she both supports the recall and endorses Larry Elder, who is reportedly the leading candidate seeking to succeed Newsom.
I was just tired of the false narrative that was put forward that this is a right-wing conspiracy.
Romero said on the Tucker Carlson Tonight Show on Thursday that she believes Elder is the best option for school choice.
And the second major reason, really, that I decided to endorse, especially Larry Elder, was that I was tired of the rules for thee but not for me attitude of the prince of the French laundry.
Romero is an advocate for school choice. She served on the California State Senate from 2001 to 2010 and was previously in the State Assembly. In a Twitter post on Saturday, Newsom referred to the recall as a Republican recall. He encouraged voters and their friends to vote no on the recall. Twitter users gave split responses on the decision whether to recall California's governor or not. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Dozens of healthcare workers in Kentucky are taking their employer to court. This is yet another lawsuit among several being filed against governments and companies mandating that workers be vaccinated against COVID-19. NTD's Miguel Moreno has that story.
St. Elizabeth Healthcare in Kentucky has ordered its workers to vaccinate against COVID-19 by October 1st. But 40 employees have reportedly filed a federal lawsuit against the hospital. The Louisville Courier-Journal cites the suit, which argues employees have the right to refuse the vaccine without being coerced to participate in a medical experiment. Dieters Law, the firm representing the workers, told the Journal these hospitals are evil corporate gangsters, as are their partners in crime, the government and pharma and media. St. Elizabeth Healthcare hasn't gotten back to us. On the day they announced their mandate, the CEO said,
"First priority at St. Elizabeth, and I know all the health systems, is the safety of our patients, our visitors and our employees, as well as our community. And vaccines are the best way for us to ensure that at this time."
In Indiana, what's being cited as the state's largest healthcare provider suspended nearly 300 employees last week for being unvaccinated, a day after these workers were suspended. Hoosiers held a medical freedom rally in Evansville. Alicia Brando says she's been a nurse for 21 years in Evansville.
I can see people wanting, if they want to take the vaccination, that's fine, but I don't. I can't take it. One, I think that it's not be safe, but the biggest thing is against my moral and religious beliefs. And to sit there and say that I have to take it to keep my job, it's not right. That's just not right.
Keisha Byers says she's a nurse. Her employer approved her vaccine exemption request.
Though I still feel like I'm walking on eggshells daily, we're discriminated against. We're made to wear extra coverings, despite the fact that I have already had COVID and recovered. So I have natural immunity. I'm forced to wear a face shield that, identifies me clearly as not having been vaccinated. And I don't think my job should be at risk, my career that I've already invested 14 years in.
Reports say those suspended employees from Indiana University Health have 2 weeks to either get vaccinated, apply for an exemption, or lose their jobs. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.
And 2 major pandemic unemployment programs end today. One research firm calls it the largest cutoff of unemployment benefits in history, as over 7 million workers lose federal money. NTD's Colin Frederickson has the details.
The largest halt to unemployment benefits in history. Around 7.5 million Americans have lost either their pandemic extended unemployment compensation or their pandemic unemployment assistance.
My inner voice is me yelling, screaming, trying to be like, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do.
Sleeplessness, it's a lot.
Yeah, there are any number of jobs that I could go out and do, but not all of them can support me.
Pandemic extended unemployment compensation gives additional weeks to people who are still jobless after their state benefits are used up. And pandemic unemployment assistance provides up to 79 weeks of unemployment benefits to individuals not eligible for regular benefits.
Considered temporary work. They're not all promises, but they do give you a chance to earn some money while you're waiting for the right job and the right opportunity.
Mark Dyson is the founder of the Voice of Job Seekers podcast. He says there are all sorts of temporary job options right now.
There is anywhere from clerical work to even management jobs where you'll be a temporary solution for the work that they have. Every position has a temporary job.
Some other tips? Apply for rental assistance. States like Oregon, Nevada, and New York allow renters to stay in their residences as the application is pending. You can also apply for food stamps. Benefits from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program are increasing by an average of $36 a month per person starting in October. Colin Frederickson, NTD News.
Strange things happening in China. Less than 2 weeks into his job, the German ambassador to China has died. And a black swan showed up uninvited at Tiananmen Square in Beijing. NTD's Tiffany Meyer brings us more.
The German ambassador to China died less than 2 weeks after arriving in China, and the German chancellor issued a statement expressing her condolences. Jan Hecker was a foreign policy advisor to Chancellor Angela Merkel before his appointment as ambassador to China. The German foreign minister told media the death is unrelated to Hecker's role as ambassador. Hecker officially started working at the end of August. According to German media, Hecker was one of Merkel's closest confidants. Hardly anyone in Berlin has had such a great influence on the chancellor's foreign policy in recent years. He accompanied the chancellor on almost all trips abroad. In recent years, perceptions of China have plummeted among the German public, but the government's China policy seemed not to keep pace. It still follows a policy of constant dialogue. Many observers assume that Merkel sent Hecker to Beijing in an effort to maintain her policy of constant dialogue even after her departure later this year. A black swan visited Tiananmen Square in the city center over the weekend. It caught the attention of nearby tourists. Animal conservationists removed the bird after a couple of hours. Some said the swan might have flown in from a nearby park. The incident triggered heated discussions among netizens, as Chinese leader Xi Jinping mentioned a black swan earlier this year. He cautioned people to be prepared for unexpected events that usually come with significant negative consequences. These are known as black swan events. The place the black swan landed carries deep historic significance for the Chinese people. In 1989, students and citizens across China protested against corruption in the Chinese Communist Party, demanding democracy and freedom. Tiananmen Square was the center of the demonstrations, but the Chinese military crushed the movement, killing hundreds or more protesters and arresting thousands. The clampdown has since remained one of Beijing's most widely censored topics.
NTD's 9th International Classical Chinese Dance Competition saw over 100 contestants from all over the world, all taking the stage in New York. After 4 days of competition, 12 dancers took home the gold. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Before Sunday evening's award ceremony, gold medalists from previous years showcased some of the best techniques in classical Chinese dance. Strings of difficult jumps and tumbles from male dancers won rounds of applause, while the female dancers' graceful movements presented the elegance and gentleness of ancient Chinese women. This year, 12 contestants from the junior and adult divisions were honored with the top award. The competition aims to promote authentic Chinese culture, traditions that have nearly been lost, destroyed by the Chinese Communist Party over the past several decades.
After winning, I just have a bigger responsibility to revive this culture.
I'm really happy. I think it's an encouragement for me to continue the path of dancing. Now I know my direction better. I hope in the future I can bring to the audience more works that can inspire the goodness in them and that conveys beautiful messages.
This year's gold medalist also brought a special dance component to the stage, a long-lost dance technique known as the body leads the hands and the hips leads the legs. The method teaches dancers that the power behind their movements comes from the center of the body.
I feel like there's actually so much behind it, and the more you go into it, the more interesting it gets. And then it just adds like so much to your dance. It's like a different world from like regular dance.
On stage, the dancers portrayed some of the best-known figures in Chinese history, from talented scholars to loyal generals to great beauties in ancient China, presenting a concise version of the country's 5,000 years of civilization. The competition aims to foster cultural exchange and promote purely authentic traditional dance, bringing its purity and goodness to light. Many contestants came to the competition with the same aspiration.
I hope to bring the most traditional Chinese classical dance to the world so that people around the world will know that classical dance is really good.
What comes with winning gold is the responsibility to do better and to bring the highest art form I can to bring back this lost heritage to more people around the world.
The contestants say they will continue pursuing new heights in their training to reach new levels in their artistic journeys. NTD News, New York.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to catch all of our programs on TV. NTD Evening News is on every weekday at 6:30 p.m. Find your local NTD channel at ntd.com/TV.
Everything that's reported on television isn't always true, but it should be. NTD, the power of truth. Now available 24/7 on television and streaming platforms.